3, 2, 1 week to make a game. That is the challenge of the Brackeys Game Jam. And this year, almost 30,000 people took up that challenge, resulting in 4,500 unique games. Both the Brackeys Game Jams of 2025 have been wrapped up, and I am blown away by the amount of great games submitted. Some games took familiar concepts and turned them on their heads. Others took a crazy idea and ran with it. Some were just absolutely beautiful, and some gave me a good belly laugh. I've picked a mix of my personal favorites and top-rated games to show you, so let's have a look at some of the best games from the 2 Brackeys Game Jams of 2025. But first, this video is sponsored by Zenva. If you want to make your own games in Godot, make sure to check out Zenva Academy. They offer great beginner and intermediate courses, including a free introductory course on Godot. Zenva combines fun and practical learning through professional video tutorials, written lessons, and interactive quizzes. And what's really cool is that you'll be building real projects across various genres from RPGs to bullet hells. Zenva also has a wide range of courses on Python, Unity, Unreal, and other essential tools. With a single subscription, which includes a 7-day free trial, you unlock over 300 courses. Use the coupon code below to get an extra 20% off the first year of your Zenva subscription, on top of any existing site-wide discounts. The offer is valid for the first 50 subscribers, so make sure to use your coupon today to start your game dev adventure. Now, as always, the games in the Brackeys Game Jam are based on a theme. And the theme for the first jam of the year was Nothing Can Go Wrong. And if nothing can go wrong, does that mean that everything must go right? In this game, you guessed it, you can only move to the right, which leads to some wonderfully painful levels, such as this one, where the player spawns right next to the goal, but of course you can't go left, so instead you have to bounce off the wall, use the arrows to do some more bouncing, make your way up to the key, some more arrow magic, break the ice, and finally you get to go back down, and that feeling is awesome. And this game gets hard. I mean, what am I even looking at here? If I had to rate this game, I would say that it's better than alright. And so is Diapers Please, a wonderfully crafted game about matching babies with their parents after a fire in the maternity ward has destroyed all the paperwork. And while you're trying to find the right baby based on the color of the hair or the blood type, you start to get contradicting messages. Some from the government, saying that you should keep up the good work and you'll be rewarded with fancy things, and some from a secret order, instructing you to, on purpose, pair up babies with people who aren't their parents, all for the greater good. Originally meant to just be a fun nod to Papers, Please, it pleases me to see that the game is being developed into a full release under the name Ministry of Order. It's always exciting to see jam games evolve into full-fledged titles. And the same goes for Rough Day at the Office, a game where you play as a dog trying to cause as much trouble as possible. Now, at the surface, Purrfect Disaster is a game about rebuilding your house after it is struck by a meteor. You run around searching for parts, chopping down trees, battling monsters, receiving gifts from dinosaurs, getting kidnapped by aliens, luring sharks out of the water to fight them in a boxing match, you know, the usual house stuff. But it's not until the end of the game that you realize it's about more than rebuilding a house. It's a game about positivity and making the best of life when everything seems to go wrong. Because, as the game says, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And when a meteor falls on your house, roast marshmallows. And maybe sell the meteor and buy a bigger house. So that's a few games from the first jam of the year. We'll look at more, but first I want to show you a game from the second one. The theme for this jam was Risk It for the Biscuit. And at least one way to interpret this theme was that it was all about taking chances to get rewards. And few games do this as perfectly as Nobody's Purrfect. A fantastic Slay the Spire-esque turn-based card game where you play spells in order to defeat monsters. To cast a spell of a certain type, you have to complete a minigame, or it might backfire. As you progress, some spells get empowered, making them more powerful. but harder to cast, and the minigames harder to do. This creates a well-functioning gameplay loop, where you have to constantly choose between casting a lesser but safer spell, or risking it for the biscuit with a more powerful spell with high risk of failure. Many of the empowered spells offer HP rewards, which means that even when the battle feels won, you're still tempted to take the chance of casting a powerful spell for some extra HP to use in a later fight. I found the minigames to be fun and difficult and had to do quite a few runs until I finally defeated the last boss in an epic battle with only 1 HP left. A perfect way to end the run. And talking about perfect, in the Purrfect game, you play a game of 5 levels. In each level, you try to get a ball to the finish flag. And then a question pops up, asking you if you thought that was a perfect game. If you answer no, you're immediately tasked with replacing one of the 5 levels with a new and better one. So I made this one, which I thought was pretty cool. And then you press upload, updating the game with your new level for everyone else. This continues until someone, somewhere, plays the game and decides that it's perfect, at which point everything resets and the cycle starts again. An incredibly interesting take on both the theme of nothing can go wrong and on how to center a game around community content. Another interesting take on the traditional platformer is Blissfully Unaware, a game that is disguised as a platformer, except as you quickly realize, you are not the one in control of the player. Instead, the player is new and inexperienced. They are jumping around and are not able to avoid hazards at all. So it's your job to help them complete the level by manipulating it. And as soon as you think you're getting the hang of it, an evil cursor intervenes and starts making your life harder. A short but incredibly entertaining gameplay experience, all made by one person. And before we continue, I just want to mention that the first Brackeys Game Jam of 2026 is already open for signups. Simply click the link in the description to join now. This way you'll also be notified over email a month before the jam starts. Alright, back to the games. It's safe to say that I don't play a lot of point-and-click adventures. But Bug Life is one of those games that just point-and-clicked with me. The art style is incredibly unique. It combines detailed photorealistic objects and dithering effects with hand-drawn, high-contrast sketching, and the result is an otherworldly aesthetic that just works. The game starts with this scene, and without the need for explanation, you understand that you have been banished from your home. If you try to walk back, the guards will tell you some items that you must find to be let back in. And so begins a journey of peril and adventure, where you must defeat a fly at Where is the Ball, walk into a glove and inquire a caterpillar about purchasing cheese, avoid the deadly sun rays of a child that likes to burn bugs with a magnifying glass, yes, that is his toes right there, and finally defeat a giant spider. I chose to dance it to death. And talking about dancing, in Breakbot Boogie, it's the little things that go a long way to creating a pleasing experience. Like when you hover over UI elements, it will play a note in the key of the song. Or when you notice that the graphics for the bass player is actually perfectly synced with the music. Another example is Nothing Can Go Wrong, where you're invited to solo on the guitar, and then go skip stones and try to get a good amount of bounces. So simple, yet incredibly effective at creating a lovely and relaxing atmosphere. And the same is true for Takeover, except the atmosphere of this game is anything but relaxing. Takeover is a gripping text-based game about times of radical political change. Playing as a government representative, you're confronted with difficult choices as your country seems to destabilize and democracy slips from your grasp. And the game is incredibly simple. Good writing, a few well-placed sound effects, and the chilling motifs of Rachmaninoff are more than enough to make this game a beautiful but also haunting experience. And talking about haunting, in Murph's, you're hired by a sinister company to do, well, something. In this game, you must learn how to navigate the company computer, complete minigames to keep your productivity up, and dig around the archived files in your spare time to try to uncover information about the company you work for, one encrypted file at a time. I love the attention to detail with this one. The tutorial, for example, is a text file that you can read by typing a command into the console. The minigames fit really well and feel like part of the game. And having encrypted files show as a series of changing ASCII characters is really cool. But at this point, I could use a break from the spookiness. And what better way than with a modern take on a beloved classic? Snakes with Stakes turns regular Snake into a puzzle platformer. After falling down deep into a canyon, you have to make your way back up. To do this, you need to use your tail to carry you from platform to platform. Along the way, you eat cookies to grow your tail and expand your ability. But you have to think carefully about how you position yourself, or you might very well fall back down, which might have happened to me once or twice. Next we have Print It Please, a puzzle game about printing paper. And despite how boring that sounds, it managed to make me laugh more than once. The puzzles are solved by offsetting color and placement of elements on the page to make them appear right when printed. And I'm super impressed with the art direction. The game expertly blends 2D and 3D elements with some well-crafted shaders and VFX to achieve a comic book visual style that just feels right. Now, I'm not a very good chess player, but in CHARK, that is not a problem. This game combines Balatro with the game of chess. Play cards to move and capture pieces and you will earn points. Get enough points before you run out of hands to play and you progress to the next round. But of course not before you spend some money in the shop on new pieces or bakery? CHARK is a super fun take on chess in a roguelike card-playing hybrid with poker chips and bakery power-ups. And not the only game with a Balatro roguelike bakery mashup. In Cooking for the Cookies, your oven is acting strangely, and there are a lot of monsters that need their baked goods, so you have to gamble on the temperature. Turn on multiple burners and your cookie might cook better, giving you a higher score, or it might get burned, leaving you with nothing. A simple yet effective gameplay loop that kept me playing until I'd upgraded my oven to perfection. And with that, I think it's time to show the winners of the Brackeys Game Jams of 2025. After all, there can only be one, except there are two, because we had two events. And a bunch of category winners. And everyone who participated kind of won because being part of a game jam is awesome. So congratulations to all of you! And of course, especially to Wrongfile and Rave Cyberfunk for receiving the highest rating overall. There are certain days where you just really want everything to go smoothly. Say for example your first day at a new job. In Wrongfile, however, you unfortunately don't get that luxury. Instead, you accidentally click on a malicious file on your new computer, and suddenly it's infested with a virus. But of course you don't want to disappoint your new co-workers, so you scramble to do your work and attend meetings while fighting off an array of Trojans, pop-ups and ransomware attacks. Wrongfile is a game that will definitely keep you challenged and looking forward to the weekend. And finally we have Rave Cyberfunk, a rhythm battler where you fight through enemies by blocking with the directional keys while trying to put together attack combos with your 3 different weapons, all while staying on beat. This game perfectly applies risk-taking elements to the rhythm genre. If you thought you did well on a song, you can replay it at a higher tempo in order to have a chance at better loot. But if you fail, you will receive nothing at all. The stakes are high and the music is groovy. And that wraps up the 13th and 14th Brackeys Game Jams. As I mentioned earlier, the first Brackeys Game Jam of 2026 is open for early signups. Register now to get notified over email a month before the event. If you want to try out some of these games yourself, there will be a link to where you can play all of them in the description. There are of course a lot of great games that didn't make it into this video, so I want to say thanks to everyone who participated in the jam, and special thanks to the Discord mod team for helping me host the event. Also, don't forget to check out Senva Academy. Be among the first 50 people to use the coupon code below to get 20% off the first year of your Senva subscription. I hope this video gave you some good ideas for things to make or got you interested in joining the jam yourself. Happy jamming! Perfect. 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 Purrfect Disaster!